So tell me, how long have you been into Tiki?
Woof.
One woof for 5 years. So let me ask you something. Are you more of a Don the Beachcomber fan, or are you a Trader Vic's kind of?
Bark once for yes, two for no. She's like, my parents make me wear these things. I can't even believe it.
Your dog's like, well, I didn't expect this to happen. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tiki with Ray. Today, I am in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I am in, what is the name of your home tiki bar?
It is D&L's Exotic Trade Winds Paradise.
And why is it called that?
Well, D&L, I think, would be obvious, or Dave and Linda.
This is Dave and Linda. And how do you say your last name? Because I don't want to...
Baghdad.
Baghdad, just
Like
Baghdad.
the city, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And when did you guys start getting into tiki? Or how did you get into it?
We kind of got into it sideways.
Sideways?
We started out going to... We started out going to the Viva Las Vegas Rockabilly Convention.
Yes.
And then while we were there, we discovered the Golden Tiki, which had just opened. And there's a sort of a convergent thing happening at the same time. At the same time, Linda was trying to discover more about her dad's military service.
Oh, really?
He was in the Navy in the Pacific during the Second World War, and he brought home lots of artifacts from ports of call that he'd been to, like the Philippines and things like that. So Linda's interest in learning more about that sort of coalesced with our becoming more exposed to tiki culture in general. And we just started accumulating stuff and decided that when we moved into our next house, we wanted to have space for a tiki room.
Yeah.
And that was a little over 2 years ago, and here we are.
Well,
surrounded by all the splendor that you see here.
we are surrounded by a lot of splendor.
Indeed.
And a beagle wearing a fez.
And a beagle wearing a fez. And
who's having a nap.
Yeah. Linda, when you're so your dad served in the South Pacific?
Yeah. He was many, many years in the South Pacific in the Navy and brought home a variety of things. I have a few here and things here in the Tiki Bar from the Philippines and other areas. And it was something he didn't talk about the war very much, but he always talked about his time in the South Pacific and how much he enjoyed it. He loved Hawaii when he was there, and so part of it kind of was in my DNA.
Yeah.
And I think then when we got into an actual tiki bar, I was like, oh,
this looks kind of familiar.
Yeah,
there's something ancestral going on here.
This is kind of cool, and then it just kind of took off from there, really.
Yeah. Well, one thing that has definitely taken off is your collection of Peacock chairs. You guys have a lot of Peacock chairs, and that's what I want to focus on this episode. So, how did one turn into like 8 of them? Or I mean, do you guys have total like 8 or 9 or something like that?
Something like
I
that.
think 9.
Nine sounds right.
9.
Well, when we were still living in our old place, and we decided that when we moved, we were going to have a tiki room. Yeah. We decided that we were not going to wait to start accumulating things because you know how it is with tiki stuff. You find it and you buy it right away, or it's not there.
Yep.
So when you see something, you got to go for it immediately.
Of course.
So one thing led to another, and we had 9 tiki chairs in our old kitchen.
9 of them?
9 of them. They were all in the kitchen because it was a smaller place and we had nowhere else to put them. So every trip to the kitchen involved navigating this labyrinth of tiki chairs.
Oh my God. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a tour of your bar, and we're going to get your story on each one. Well, I don't know. I mean, you have a couple in storage, I guess.
We have a few that are in storage, and we started... Yeah, I know.
That'd be kind of weird to have you guys set up and sitting in your garage. It's like all dusty and stuff
storage,
like that.
right? Just in case we need to expand someday. But it started
just in case we need to expand.
Just in case we need to expand.
Yeah,
we might need a few extra.
We don't really have any room to expand unless we're going to create a sub-basement to the basement.
Well, you never know.
Could
It
happen.
happen one day.
The Speakeasy Tiki Bar.
That's right. That's right. But we remember the Peacock chairs. We grew up when we were in the 70s, and you could pick one up for almost nothing. And everybody had one.
And you had one as a kid.
I had one.
I had
you
one
had
as a
one.
kid. Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, big deal.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh my God, why did I ever get rid of that? What was I thinking? And so when we started off on this venture, it was whatever you could find. So plain tiki, ornate tiki, peacock chair, we were on it. And we went from, oh my God, there's one, to there's really one we have to have. And then
And oh, by the way, it's in St. Louis.
and it's in St. Louis, but we can get there.
We're
going to
go get it right
It's
now.
no big deal. Yeah. So yeah, it was one of these things where you just kind of started off and went, this one is available, let's get it. And then it became, this one is really ornate, then we'll rehome this one. And so we did a little bit of that for, I don't know, a year, 18 months,
Yeah,
something like
about
that.
that.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I love about home tiki bars, because that's how it works. You could maybe have an idea of what you might want to do, but it all really comes down to like what you find.
It is.
It's all about what you find and what's available.
That's right.
Because there's definitely pieces of like, well, it might have a tiki bedroom, but like I had no plans on getting this thing, but hey, it's gonna work and I'm gonna make it work, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
I'm sure at the very beginning of this you were planning on having 8 Peacock chairs,
No.
but you're like, we're gonna make it work.
That's right.
There was no plan. The plan was, if we see
Acquire.
something, get it.
Acquired.
And then we'll figure out what to do with it later.
Yeah.
And that's words to live by out there, audience. If you see something, get
That's
it.
right.
Unless it's a peacock chair, then they get first dibs.
Then you're going to have to fight us for it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We'll race you. So these chairs, where did these 2 chairs come from, sweetheart?
These are 2 of the first acquisitions that we made here in Indianapolis.
And the first of the matching chairs that
First
we
of the matching chairs. They are manual chairs. They are very ornate and unique. You'll see by the detailed webbing here on not the outside, not just the outsides, but also on the actual arm guards.
Which is sort of a summer camp lanyard effect there.
It's very, very beautiful, very ornate, very delicate as well. And many of these didn't survive very well. Ours have a little bit of bruising here and there, but they are in exceptional condition. We were lucky enough to find them in Indianapolis in different locations. And as you can see, it's kind of the king size and the queen size. This one's a little bit smaller. And we were very excited to find these because not only did they match, but they were kind of king and queen elements, which is something we were looking for the tiki bar.
And you had to risk life and limb to get yours.
Well, there were some interesting places and locations we needed to go to actually procure these, but they were well worth it, and the individuals who sold them to us were very kind, and
And thankfully they had no idea what they had.
some of them didn't have any idea what they had. We got a good deal on a few of them, but they were very gracious, and I guaranteed them they were going to a very fine home where they would be well taken care of, because many of these were family heirlooms. As were shared with us by the people who actually owned them, that they'd either gotten them from, a wedding in the 70s, or their grandmother had them in the attic, and they had fond memories of them. And these are something we remember from our childhood and teenagehood that was in the 70s. But
Although ours were nowhere near as
nowhere
nice
near as
these.
ornate. But, one of those things, it was kind of a passing fad. Little did we know we should have hung on to those bad boys. Right?
Yep.
But we were very fortunate to find these, and they are now in a prime location in our tiki room in our home.
So this is sort of the pride of the collection. It's a Cobra chair, and we haven't seen very many of these around. And this gets back to what we were talking about earlier, where if you become aware of something that's out there, you need to jump on it right away, because this is not going to remain available for long. Now this one was actually in St. Louis. It was about a 4-hour drive each way, and my wife actually bribed me with barbecue from a favorite restaurant of ours in St. Louis. So we went over to St. Louis, bought the chair, bought the barbecue, and came back in the same day. And the chair has occupied pride of place since then.
So this chair, very ornate again, another Emmanuel chair. And this chair actually came from Tennessee. And our daughter and son-in-law and granddaughter live down there. And I found this on Marketplace or one of the other social media outlets. And I said, I need this chair. And daughter dearest, would you please go pick it up for me and bring it to me? And she said, absolutely, be delighted to do that, Mom. And so this chair came to us from Tennessee, and it is, again, another one of the fine examples of an Emmanuel chair, very ornate. Again, has a few bumps and bruises along the way. You'll see, a few little bits here that perhaps have popped off, but all in all, when you think about the age of this chair, fantastic shape. And again, another prized possession in our Tiki room and our Tiki bar in our home.
So this one, we've never seen another one like this one. And this was a find that came right here in Indianapolis at the Midland Antique Mall. And Linda discovered it, and she said, we have to go get this right now. So, of course, that is what we did. We went down there, we found it, we bought it, and only then we raised the inconvenient question of how are we going to get this thing home? Because it was way too big for our vehicle, and we don't have a pickup truck. So I called a buddy of mine real quickly, and we arranged for him to meet us down here and get the chair and take it home, and here it's been ever since.
The dog just looks like, yeah, all right.
Humiliate me some more.
Want to support the Tiki with Ray show and look cool doing it at the same time? Then head over to tikiwithray.com and buy yourself a Tiki with Ray shirt. They're only $20. Tony Canepa did the design, and they're screen printed in America.